All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We're going to take a look at high tide first on this one. There was a really good comment that was essentially, why am I giving the least amount of attention to the best chart? And it's kind of true, actually. So we'll start with high tide, we'll get into Tilray, and then I've been grouping CGC, ACB, and SNDL together. If I've got time, I'll take a look at MSOS as well on this one. But I also want to take a couple moments to go to the fireplace. I don't think I've had a good moment to really go deep into it, right? But I'm going to talk about the CGC earnings at the fireplace, and then I'm going to talk about the markets, all right? Because again, this amazing chart aside, all right, most of the sector is working its way down, right? And you can kind of see that the Dow Jones has taken a slip since today, right? You can see that the S&P 500 is actually kind of taking a little slip as of today, right? Until today, like I said, excuse me, right? So when the Dow and the S&P are struggling, you kind of have to expect this sector to struggle. So maybe there's a little bit of recovery that'll come from that. But like I said, we'll go over some of that in the fireplace. And then, yeah, the technicals are just not looking that great, except pretty much for this chart right here, right? All right, so we'll cover all that and more today, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you do helps so much, but just being here, giving me your time, giving me your thoughts, oh man, I am so grateful for it, all right? So let's actually, before we get into the technicals, like I said, let's take a look at the fireplace real quick, right? So I'm here kind of giving you my personal opinions for the most part here, and then I like talking about the major markets as well, right? I don't think a lot of people do that, especially with this sector, you know? So let's talk about the CGC earnings. And one big thing I echoed was there hasn't been a lot of good news, let alone any news in the sector, right? It's been relatively quiet, and we've been moving up only because of news. So when the fuel of the PR kind of, you know, dwindles, right? I don't know what the word is. When the external headlines kind of fade away, it's one of those things where the momentum is going to come down with it, right? And the goal really was, if CGC can give some good earnings, good things would happen. And I'll show it in the technicals, right? Like there was a pre-market pump, and I don't want to call it a pump because that's a little derogatory, but when you actually looked at the headlines, the CGC earnings just weren't fantastic. EPS, I talk about EPS all the time. Any sector, any stock, big name, little name, in between. Earnings per share is probably the most important line on the earnings. From there, it's all about the guidance for tomorrow, right? But it's really important to hit or beat the EPS expectations. Man, it was not good. I believe the expectation was to lose around 30 cents, and they actually lost a little more than 70 cents. So that's a significant miss from the expectation, right? I think I saw some revenue growth, but it wasn't spectacular. Like it wasn't double-digit, triple-digit numbers, right? So if you're gonna miss earnings per share that bad, you need something monumental. And you know, I don't really know what caused that pop in the morning. I don't. If you saw something that I'm not talking about, please let me know. But the biggest like bullets and headlines that I saw across a couple different impartial websites, right? And I always talk about that. Don't just look for like, you know, pro weed articles, right? Like you got to find the impartial ones, the ones that say good and bad, right? Knock on wood, kind of what I try to do on these videos, right? But Most of them were really, really highlighting that the earnings per share miss. And then a couple, like I said, I think I saw a revenue beat, but it wasn't a spectacular and wasn't even highlighted on all of them, in all honesty. You know what I mean? I didn't see any crazy guidance headlines either. So I don't know if I don't even know if they spoke about Germany. Let me know if Germany was mentioned and how so. But yeah, there wasn't even like big guidance hopes and expectations to kind of lift stuff, right? When we look at the charts, and we will shortly, like it wasn't a horrible reaction yesterday or today, right? So I'll give you my thoughts going into Monday on that, but yeah, obviously just not enough to do it, right? So still kind of in the fireplace, but moving to the charts. So I want to talk about the markets, okay? So I always say when we're looking at the sector, I only care about the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. NASDAQ does not matter. We are not talking about a technological sector here. Like this is farming, and this is not even e-commerce. This is putting a thing in a store, brick and mortar, right? So when I see the Dow Jones slip like that, that's something to get worried about for sure, right? When I see the S&P 500 SPX, when I see it not as dramatically, but definitely starting to lose some lines, there's a little bit of concern. And you can maybe say that the sector was following this, right? I don't know if I will. And look, today was a big recovery day here. Today was obviously a big recovery day on the Dow Jones. We just saw that monster candle right there. I didn't really see the same thing on the stocks that we're going to talk about today. That's actually inclusive of high tide, which is the best one. That one actually had like a simple little doji, right? So I still really think the sector is being driven by news, and right now it's being held down by the lack of news. But hey, if we can make some good recoveries on the market, maybe good things will happen, right? But keep an eye on this, right? We're still under a bunch of the moving averages here. SPX is still trying to prove to me that we're holding the 20 moving average, right? So there's still some things to be had, but let's see how it looks, right? So I think that's kind of everything for the fireplace. So we talked about the CGC earnings. We talked about the market. I believe someone said high tide earnings or SNDL earnings. I don't remember which one. I'm sure I'm going to get corrected by the good viewers out there, but one of those two has earnings around June 13th. That's about 2 weeks from now. And I remember saying I like the spacing between that earnings call and the CGC one that we just had, right? So, hey, CGC couldn't do it. Maybe someone else can do it. I don't think either name is as big, regardless if it's high tide or if it's SNDL. But hey, if someone could do good in an earnings, you never know what'll carry the rest, right? So, yeah, I think that's everything. Around 8 minutes is where I will transition into the actual technicals. And like I said, we're going to start with high tide instead of Tilray. So let's get into it. Real quick, please, if you can subscribe, if you can share the video. Oh, it does wonders. High tide, high tide, high tide, high tide. Look at this thing, right? You know, if you watch my videos, every single stock that I cover is nothing more than a 3 to 5 letter random ticker. You know what I mean? I don't care if this, they mean nothing to me. I barely know anything about any of the companies, but I've been covering high tide long enough, and I've been replying to a lot of the long and strongs long enough across multiple platforms, right? And I'm hesitant to say this, but it seems like other people are starting to catch up to what everyone's been saying, right? And I think the way I would say that on the technical chart, I would zoom out, I would zoom out, I would zoom out. So this is the day that high tide started, right? This is a good sustained big volume, and it's seemingly the best one since this 2021 pump, and we don't need this level of a pump to sustain. All right, like listen to me, like all of us. I don't care if this was high tide, I don't care if this was Mullen, I don't care if it was whatever. If anything went from from basically $2 all the way to $10, over a 2, 3, 4, 5 month period, you will expect volume to look like this. For sure it would. Why wouldn't it? Look at that run. Everyone's eyeballs are going to be right here, right? When the volume holds to that level, and hey, I'm not trying to undermine that the move went from like 125 to pushing 250, right? Like that's an amazing move. But my goodness, look at that level of volume for not as crazy a run. I think to me, that screams a very different level of sustainability and obviously a stronger one. People seem to be staying here. Now, obviously, we're a little bit lower on that 50-day line than I want to be. We've been actually kind of struggling to hit it since the 20th of the month, right? Almost a full 2 weeks, we've kind of been struggling with the line. You can almost argue we've actually been struggling with that line for the whole month, right? But it's doing the job, and we've been talking about 250 for a bit now, and wicked it yesterday and actually wicked it today with an almost close. That's a nice doji right there too. You know, dojis are always a little bit 50-50 to me, but yeah, it seems like this thing is getting hungry to break that 254, and I've been saying that 254 line's the prettiest of them. The 254 line is just red, green, green, red, green, boom is what we would be hunting, right? And let's be honest, we've seen nothing happen here since what, early to middle 22. We're in the middle of 24 right now, right? So this channel's been hungry. It's been real hungry. It's been tested and failed. Let's see if we can test and break right here, right? Don't assume, right? But I like it that the MACD is positive and we've got a good divergence. I'm seeing the green going up. I'm seeing that same divergence on the RSI. RSI is a good healthy 60. We were just up here in the 80s. We were just up here in the good 70s. Take me from the 60s to the good 70s. And hey, that might help me get over, come down, take off. That'd be beautiful. I'd be real cool with that, right? So 254 is really what we're hunting for. And again, I think my favorite part, and I say this with love for anyone that's not in this one but one of the other ones, to me it's crazy that we go up, we come down, but we hold while Tilray, which I'm about to cover, just basically keeps going down. CGC is, you can call it flat if you want. I wouldn't call it as flat as high tide, obviously, right? As I look at SNDL, I was having trouble thinking it looks like that, right? As I look at ACB, it looks like that, right? As I look at the MSOS and all those individual ones, those look a lot worse. Like high tide is the exception. High tide for sure had the moments of flat, but it's going up. It's staying above all the. This one is above them all still, right? And 8's going back to curving. That's still curving. That's kind of still going like. It's hard to ignore this, right? Weekly actually still looks really good too, right? That's a good RSI. That's a healthy MACD. That's in the positive. They both have a nice little divergence going. And look, volumes come down a lot, right? You don't, I say it all the time. I don't like it when we were up in the 10 millions. We're now pushing the 2 millions, right? Like we've given up 80% of the volume, right? We threw away 8 million shares a week, right? That's not a good thing. But we still are actually doing a relatively like decent increase. We just need to pick it back up, right? And I think breaking 254 could do it because again, the weekly chart just screams it, right? Nothing but a fast up, a fast down. We're looking for that fast up, right? So, goodness, if I had to give a money line, no, don't move it. If I had to give a money line, what did you open at? 270. I think if this gets into 270, yeah, we've broken that 250 for sure. And hey, maybe on the daily chart we can find a lower line, but yeah, maybe even this. What's your top? 261. Give me like 266. Oh yeah, 266 and it's gone. We'll get to that 270 number and then we'll go from there, right? But again, I'm liking this. This is the true outlier. I apologize for making this like a 2-minute little nothing while it's been doing an amazingness, right? So Yeah, let me know if I've missed anything. Damn, I went real long here. You know what? This is a high tide love video is what I'm going to do. You know I'm not here to hype. You know I'm not a fanboy. This is actual well-deserved love for a really good chart. Damn, I got to redo the fireplace for everyone else now, actually. All right. Hey, have a good one.